to make a video reviewing all of the books that I read this past month because I had more downtime than I normally do, and it was like a good way for me to like bring back my hobby and get out of a reading slump. I think I read 9 books this month. Some of them were audiobooks, and I have 2 of them currently right now, so some of them will just be pictures popping up in the screen. But yeah, I want to review them and tell them why you should or should not read them. And I also want to create my March TBR, which will be very fun. And if you see me looking down, that's because I have my reading journal, which is pretty cool. It has a narwhal in a donut floaty and comes in the Taylor Swift sticker set. This is from my friend from like 5th grade, and I just put it on this notebook. That's all you need to keep track of your reading logs. Okay, so the first book that I read of February is one of my favorite movies of all time, but this also proved that I have to read the book before I watch the movie, and that would be The Notebook. I ranked it 5 out of 5 stars. To me, The Notebook is an absolutely perfect story. It's my favorite love story, like, of all time. It's so good. The only thing I would have changed was I would have preferred if I didn't see the movie, because when I was flipping through the pages, I was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen next. And I finished, that was the first book, and I had the physical copy, but I returned it to the school library. Okay, the next book I read was by a very new author to me. I've never read any of his stuff. I read Every Day by David, I hope I say your last name right, David Levithan, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. This book, there was something about it. This boy basically like talks about, it's like identity crisis. Like, he struggles to find out who he actually is every day, and like every day he wakes up trying to figure out how he can be the best version of himself, trying to prepare himself for everything that he's going to have to accomplish in the future, and how that like can really take a toll on someone. And it's like he just really has to overthink who he is every day and like how he's going to be the next version of himself. And I really enjoyed that book. The next book that I read was by the same author. It was Another Day. I only gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as the last book, the first book of the series. There is a third one. I don't want to read the third one, I think. It basically kind of said it sums up the 2 books. I don't know if that's true, but compared to the first book, I didn't like this one because it didn't have as much character development, and it was kind of repeated exactly what I read the first time, just from a different perspective. So it was okay if you want to read the second one, but I continued to not read the last book in the series. The next book I wrote, look at how fun this spread is. The next book I read was Don't Believe Everything You Think, and I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I read this as an ebook on my phone during school. I literally wrote for this review, I have no words, I feel broken. This book basically explains from a psychological standpoint about how overthinking can take such a mental toll on people, and how sometimes we forget the things that go on in our head. We need to be able to take a step away sometimes and do things that we enjoy and realize that we have so many different aspects of our life. This guy, it was it's hard to see somebody else write that from a non-fiction perspective, to realize how much pain someone can be in from struggling with that. And it's also nice to hear somebody talk about those things too, because I feel we all overthink at some point or some topic in our life. So I would recommend this book. It was short, it's 95 pages. It was good. Okay. Whew. This book, The Collective Regrets of Clover, 5 out of 5 stars every day, all day, every day. I finished this book very fast. I went between audio and physical copy because I didn't want to switch in between plots when I had to do chores around the house and stuff. I have to come up with words because I basically this book, I wanted to read it. I did not want to stop. I had to transition to the audiobook because I was I must continue. And I didn't know really that a death doula was a thing, which, if you know anything about this book, Clover, who is the main character in this book, is a death doula. And basically the story starts off with a first traumatic experience. I won't spoil it, but it talks about the first time she saw somebody die. It's some heavy stuff. She goes through her parents passing away. Oh, sorry. Spoiler. And like having to deal with people up until the day that they die, just so they don't feel alone, because she would never want that to be a part of like anyone's life. And like coping mechanisms, it makes her feel good as a person to be able to be the person to have when people are like reaching that point in their life. And that's just like such a big, powerful thing. 5 out of 5 stars. This book is so good. Okay, this was my first full, I think. Yes. Nope. Yes. My first full audiobook. I did not have any paperback, and I honestly do enjoy audiobooks. I have been like really getting in the swing of audiobooks, and like I'm like been trying to do it more when like I do chores around the house, like work, instead of like music, to like so I don't like jam out, but I'm listening to a story. Some people don't consider audiobooks reading. I do. You're listening to the story. Like, I don't know, man. So I read Homefront by Kristen Hanna, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And this is my second Kristen Hanna book. The first book I read by her this year was The Great Alone. I want to move to Alaska. Like, don't even get me started about that book. But this book in like particular like teaches you a lot about loss, love, grief, and how your life can truly change based on like small events and different career paths that your family members choose to take, and how like war as a whole is just like such a mentally draining thing. One of the characters in this book decides to serve for the country, and that is like a big character development part for everyone. It's like the whole family has to engage with her leaving and how that's going to affect everything around her, and having to constantly worry about that. And you also focus on a lot of topics of death and love, and how different people react to different situations in different ways. Is Things We Know by Love, and I gave it 4.5. 4.5. Yes. That's weird. I put a little 0.5. 4.5 stars out of 5. Not gonna lie, I almost DNF'd this book, but I didn't want to. I'm trying to not DNF. Give them a chance. I ended up actually creating a huge attachment to this book. The main character, Quinn, loses her boyfriend, Trent, and Trent was an organ donor, and she ends up finding the guy who gets Trent's heart transplant and falls in love with him. And it's basically her explaining how she's basically falling in love with the same guy because it's the same heart. It's like, come on now, like that's stop. But it also gives like off 5 Feet Apart vibes, like a little bit. I don't even know why. It just does. It doesn't have to do with like that heavy stuff, but I would recommend this one. This also has to deal with loss and love, and how you deal with losing the person you really care about. And that can go, you can connect with this from a family member, significant other, anything. Like this book, it went from almost being DNF to almost a perfect rating. Highly recommend. The next book I read was another audiobook. I read I'm Glad My Mother Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This book I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I grew up watching Jeanette McCurdy in Sam and Cat, iCarly, whatever else she was in. She'd be guest appearances on certain shows. She was always around, and when I was younger, on my TV. And I remember how much I was obsessed with her. I didn't know all of this negative stuff about her until I saw that this book came out, and I realized that I absolutely needed to read this book. It is absolutely insane how you find out how she deals with being a child actor, and how much her mom impacted her in negative ways, and like falling out of love with something and like losing interest for something you've been doing is just terrible, and how her mom has to use her to pay the bills, and how Jeanette McCurdy has other siblings and they live in LA at the time, California, over there, and the mom just has to use her for financial stuff. And every time Jeanette would almost not book a role, or they would come into little coincidences, the mom would have to like find a way out or like punish her in some way. She didn't, for example, she didn't get cast in a pogo stick commercial, so the mom made her practice pogo stick every day until she could do like 100 jumps, 1,000 jumps, I don't remember, but it was one of the two numbers, but that's not important. I wish I got to hear more aspects about the positive parts of her life that she enjoyed. The other thing was, another secret that's revealed in this is how much like she was jealous of Ariana Grande being able to leave while they were on set, not on rehearsal days, but like on filming days, and how Ariana would be able to go leave and go to a record label and go practice songs and record songs and sign this and sign that. Meanwhile, Jeanette was stuck doing something that she did not want to do and being forced to do it. I was like, that's so powerful. I also have this book, Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I tell you, take my word, this romance novel, I'm a romance girl. We all know this. This book is the definition of the guy you want. Like, that guy. Like, it's like, oh, I wish I had the dream guy, the classy guy, the guy who plays In Your Eyes Outside Your Door. That's what I got from this. This is the Dirty Dancing lift too. Like, oh my god. He's so classy. He's so sweet. The way he talks to her just like melts your heart. Absolutely melts your heart. And the main character in this book's name is Liz. And she gets the guy from the movie. It's like, I don't even think this is better than the movies. I think like, it's so, I don't even know how to put words to it. This is a fluffy romance, very positive, very enemies to lover-y. That's how they ended the book. She makes a joke about, let's find it. I didn't like you until recently. Enemies to lover. It's our trope. Like, that's ridiculously cute. But this book is super fluffy, super sweet. And I know she has more books and other YA books as well as adult books. So if you like this one, check out the other ones. I think I'm going to check out the other ones, me personally. But this book's so cute. I can't stop thinking about it. I literally they have not stopped saying stuff about this, so I'm excited for that. But yes, 5 out of 5 stars for this book. I just zoned out, but yes. And this is the last book I read of this month, and I really did enjoy it. I currently am reading 2 books right now. I'm currently editing this. I did start Lightlark, listening to the audiobook. I'm about to start chapter 3. It's very good. I'm buddy reading it on Goodreads. Highly recommend that app too, by the way. Right now, I'm currently reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets because I want to be able to read this fantasy series and say that I read it because I do have all of the books. And I'm also reading The Betrayal of Anne Frank. 2 very different books. And I started like 2 minutes into this hockey audiobook, but I don't know if I'm going to continue. I probably will. I'm back. I am 73% through that audiobook. So that'll probably be finished sometime this week. But yeah, let's build my TBR. Okay, I was trying to like pick something reasonable. Will I read probably more than 2 books next month? Probably not. I hope to be reading as much as I am because I'm currently spending more time off my phone, and it's so good to not doom scroll. And I also hate to brag, but I have the original, the OG fancy Harry Potter books. So obviously I have the 3rd book on my TBR, which is Prisoner of Azkaban. I hope to read this after I finish the 2nd one, which I know I'll finish that one because I'm currently reading it. I have Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This would be my 3rd book by her this year, and I'm just so excited. As If on Cue by Marissa Cantor. My dance teacher got this for me for Secret Santa, and it's so cute because she's so sweet. She every time she got me last year too for Secret Santa, and it was so good. So I told her that I liked reading and that I liked musical theater, and she got me this book. It's about A show romance. We know how those go. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I want to know her writing because a lot of my friends like her books, but I don't know. So this is the only one that I have by her, and I don't know. It looks like there's a girl named Nora and a guy named Charlie. Let me know your thoughts about Emily Henry because I have not read anything by her, and apparently her books are a hit or miss. I also would like to read Lightlark because one of the book groups that I'm in on Goodreads, they're reading Lightlark, and I want to be part of it. And this book is like bigger font size, so I would like to read this soon. This will probably be the next book that I read. If I don't start listening to it, it'll definitely be read. I know I have not read this book, but I hope to read it this month. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. A bunch of my friends have read this book, adult and kid, and they told me I have to. They told me that I'd love it. Been left out of everybody that's in the Fourth Wing community. So I was like, I have to read this book. So hopefully I get to read it. So yeah, that's all for today's video. Happy reading to everyone. I hope February was filled with as many good books as mine was, and hopefully March will be pretty good too. But granted, this TBR is a stretch, but that's okay. Yeah, that's it. Until next time. Bye, guys.